Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today is November the 1st, and it is the new moon in Scorpio. So I thought today would be the perfect day to talk all about dark feminine energy. So, what is dark feminine energy? We see a lot of um, trends going around on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, all the platforms. Um, and I want to address exactly what I understand dark feminine energy to be as my journey into feminine embodiment and, teaching this work of feminine embodiment and the feminine tantric arts for the past 13 years. So, what we see online is a lot of toxic dark feminine, almost like the shadow of the dark feminine. And I want to really address like what I really believe to be true and dissolve some misconceptions that you might have around dark feminine energy. And so in this video, I want to go through 3 steps, 3 key things that you can do to start embodying your dark feminine. So dark feminine isn't something to be feared. We think of the dark often as, something that is, when we talk about the dark feminine, a lot of people think like, oh, it's that like wicked side of us, that evil side of us, the manipulative side of us. And while those aspects can be expressed through dark feminine energy, it's nothing to be feared. In fact, the more that we fear our dark feminine, the more havoc it's going to actually wreak in your life and come out in sideways. So the dark feminine, simply put, is essentially uh, the part of you that you have been unwilling to acknowledge. So the parts of you, parts, many things, many aspects of you that you may have suppressed, over the years. So this dark feminine is really an invitation when she comes into your life. It's an invitation to look at the parts of you that when you were a child, you were made to believe that part of you was wrong. So often this can include, and obviously it actually always includes, our sexuality. So this is a huge part of dark feminine embodiment, exploring your sexuality, your sacred sexuality. But it can be things like, your sensitivity, your bossiness, your too muchness, like anything that you were shamed for as a child, or made to believe like that love was being withdrawn from you as a child. The dark feminine is going to invite you to look at that and to really explore that part of you. So that's one step. The first step into unlocking your dark feminine energy is taking a journey into your shadow. Really sitting with yourself and asking yourself, like, what are the common themes that come up in your relationships, like the parts of you that you're too afraid to show. This is a good indication of what you have been made to believe, or believe that is unlovable within you as per your childhood conditioning. So there might have been a situation in your childhood where you're expressing that part of you, and your caregiver or your parents or whoever was, you looked up to, withdrew their love. And so in that moment, your body and your psyche couldn't deal with that rejection of love, because it literally feels like you're dying. When love from your parents is being withdrawn as a child, it literally equates to death. Like, if my parents leave me, I could literally die. So I'm going to cope by shutting that part of me down and just showing the parts of me that are favorable and that are welcome in this family dynamic. So the first step is really looking at the parts of you that you think are unwelcome in your relationships, in your life, in your friendships, in everyday how you move through life. So that's step one, looking at your shadow, taking a journey into that. The next aspect of dark feminine is exploring your sacred sexuality. And this is where I believe this Madonna whore complex comes into play. So as women, we are kind of conditioned to believe that we have to be either, the Madonna or the whore, the Eve or the Lilith. Literally in, the Bible, Lilith gets cast out of the Garden of Eden and Eve is chosen by Adam. So there's this part of us, our deep collective psyche, where we feel we have to suppress this Lilith side of us, the whorish, the wild, erotic side of us, in order to be loved and accepted and essentially, like, chosen by the masculine and by the community, even. So, exploring your sexuality and exploring your sexual shadow is a huge aspect. And I have a huge plethora of courses where you can explore that in my online course platform. I have Pleasure Principles, The Tantric Woman, and our upcoming Devotional and Dirty 3-day online retreat, which is happening on the 7th, 8th, and 9th of November, which is all about this, embodying your devotional side and your dirty side, your Eve and your Lilith. So you really want to explore your sexuality as an aspect of dark feminine embodiment. A woman embodying her dark feminine, she knows what she desires. She knows what she's so in touch with her sexuality that it's integrated. So when you start exploring dark feminine energy, and you haven't explored your sexuality, often there's like a buffering out period. So like any polarity, when you have suppressed something for so long, you unlock that. It's like Pandora's box opening, and you might go to this extreme over sexualization if you've suppressed your sexuality for so long. This is so common in, like, people that have grown up in religious conditioning. They unlock their sexuality that they've never accessed or allowed themselves to express, and then they go to this full other side of the spectrum. So once you explore that other side, it's not about shaming yourself or judging. It's like understanding that you'll eventually come back to the middle point, because if you've gone fully from suppression to full expression, you'll come back to this middle healthy integration. And the dark feminine really is a woman who has actually mastered her sexuality, and she knows how to wield that power. She's not abusing it and using it to manipulate others. She actually knows how to channel it into her highest creativity and what she wants to birth here on this planet. So that's the second step in embodying your dark feminine. Take a journey into the underworld, into your sacred sexuality. And I've got so many courses, I'll link them below for you to do that. And the third tip for embodying your dark feminine energy is learning how to master your emotions. So this is a huge aspect of maturation and dark feminine energy. So because the dark feminine invites us into our depths, we know how to actually go into those deep emotions. She invites us deep into the deepest parts of yourself that you have not yet faced. So she invites you in, and once you have met those parts of you, there's like a stabilization that occurs. So, I see, like, when a woman's just embodying her light feminine, there's almost like, she hasn't accessed like her rage yet, her primal energy yet. She's just like all love and light and just all like smiley faces, and just there's like something in the undercurrent. And you often see these sort of women like snap, like they'll have a crazy emotional outburst because they haven't yet allowed themselves to feel those deeper dark emotions in a safe container and move that energy through their body. So the dark feminine is really inviting you to feel what wants to be felt, like really tap into those deep, painful emotions that have not been felt or expressed yet. And this is a huge part of the work that I do in all of my containers. It's called emotional alchemy. So really going into the emotion and then alchemizing it. And it's important, if you are someone who has not yet, who struggles with feeling deep emotions and like maybe shames that part of yourself, it's important to be guided through that process So you don't kind of just like open up a Pandora's box and you're just kind of like lost in the underworld. You know, we need someone to guide us into the underworld so then we can make our way back out. And the underworld, what I'm referring to is like a metaphor is like your unconscious, and that is your body. So being guided into your body, feeling what's there, and then alchemizing and moving that through your body. So once you've allowed yourself to actually feel a lot of these emotions, when emotions come up, you know, in relationships or just in day-to-day life triggers, there's less of a tendency to like explode and react. So it's not about suppressing emotions. It's just knowing how to um, control those emotions in a way, like master those emotions in a way. And I really believe, like for women, like we talk about in the tantric path, men sublimate their sexual energy, they sublimate the semen. But women, we actually are meant to sublimate our emotions. And what this means is like feeling it fully, but then alchemizing it, moving it through your body and creating something with that. Or just once you move that energy, it creates so much space in your system. So this is honestly like one of the most powerful aspects a woman can embody is emotional mastery. Just the same as men, once they master their sexuality and they're not controlled by their sexual lust and they know how to like move sexual energy through their body. It's the same as women. When we know how to move emotional energy through our body, we're not controlled by it and we're not sent off on, you know, days on end in a spiral or like making rash decisions and making like destroying our life from our emotional chaos. So dark feminine really invites you there. So these three things, so, you know, looking at your shadow, the repressed parts, exploring your sacred sexuality, and then mastering your emotions are three foundational pieces that I really believe are key to unleashing your dark feminine energy. And I have an entire module on this in my Tantric Woman course, all about the dark feminine. And as I mentioned, we have an upcoming 3-day online retreat happening on the 7th, 8th, and 9th of November called Devotional and Dirty, which is all about integrating your light with your dark feminine. So we're going to go on a deep dive journey, and I am so excited to invite you into this space. This is something that a lot of women struggle with, is integrating these two aspects of ourselves, the light and the dark. You know, often we feel we have to choose our light and then reject the dark, or we just go dark feminine and fully disconnect from the light, which is our heart, our playfulness, you know. So we need both, and we can be both. We can be both Eve and Lilith. And so this is an invitation for you. So if you want to join that, sign up now. I'm going to put the link for both Tantric Woman and the Devotional and Dirty 3-day retreat below. And I would love to see some of you there. Thank you for joining, and be sure to subscribe to my channel.